a one-sided pod.
All right, that's enough of that. Anyways, hello and welcome back to the final episode of the Bad Questions, Worst Answers podcast. Each week, I, Connor, along with my friend Charlie,
Good evening.
present a bad question to the others. then we attempt to
Totally
explore
caught
these
him.
bad questions with the worst answers. Why the? I hate having I enjoy having natural light but then the dang sun.
Yeah.
It's not very
Here,
cooperative.
I can turn on my natural light. See, and then it's just all washed out.
Yeah.
I don't need any of that. We'll leave a little bit.
Um.
Okay, anyway, what do you have for us, Connor?
Yeah, I guess before we wanted to get into it, I guess I realized I made a mistake in the past videos on
It's
the main
apology
on
time.
the I'm apologizing right now. I made some mistakes on the past videos, and just in the description I realized that there was the Discord link had expired for a long time, and so because someone, I think it was Holy Bibs, they commented and was like, "Hey, the Discord link expired," and I was like, "What the fuck?" And so I changed it, and the Discord link it's forever now. It's a forever Discord link, which is, I'm glad we fixed it. It was my bad. So if you want to join it, for those listening who have not yet joined, please join it. We need to get it hopping in there. Not much happens unless there's a new video drop or something. We need to get it.
I think you and I have to step it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think we need to
start bringing it a little bit more than we do.
Yeah, we really do. Get some
take the responsibility
voice
there.
chats in there. Get some interactivity going on, because I feel like not providing a service per se, but I mean we have it there for a reason, and if we're not going to utilize it, then what's the point?
We've got to make it worth people's time to show up, and make it worth our time to kind of show up.
Yeah.
We'll get on that, but it's also on you, dear listener. We like to put whatever we can on you, and this certainly applies. So step it up. In there
Doom,
with
Moist, anybody.
link.
Yeah, Ben, anyone listening to the pod, just step it up. I mean, it is your job as much as it is our job.
Especially the old timers. We just need more from them. We can't keep rolling with what we're getting right now.
Doom is keeping us accountable. On the last episode he commented not liking the low energy, which is fair. It was a low energy pod last week. I appreciate him. Yeah, it was a rough one. I appreciate him keeping us accountable. Just keep you accountable.
Yeah.
Let's
Doom, we need more from you.
Yeah, let's amp it up a little bit. But
Maybe
yeah.
With that, do we want to jump right into the questions? I'm in the middle of moving right now, which is the reason for my haphazard.
Yeah, both of us
situation.
are in the middle of a kind of a transition at the moment. I'm going to LA for a week, and you're going back to our hometown.
Yep.
For the summer, which in-person pods
galore.
Yeah, galore. As much, yeah.
You gotta
watch out, everyone. It's in person this summer. It is truly a white boy summer with the in-person pods.
Maybe starting as soon as next week if we can
get
in around our
if
travel,
we can,
we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, coordinate that. Yeah, we'll
anyway.
Check out the merch. There might be. I think they're working on a new drop. I'm in the idea phase, so look out. Do you want to start with your question?
I'll get it started.
You get it started.
I've been on a bit of a hiatus with the questions lately, and I think it's time that I kind of get into it here. So, I was talking with sort of an acquaintance of mine, right? We've had a bunch of classes together. We're very aware of each other, know each other, like each other, but not really friends, And so we'd been texting a little bit and decided to do a video call, and we're just on the phone for a few hours while we were working, just hanging out, chatting. and trying to get to know each other a little more, like personally, and establish more of a
Yeah.
personal relationship. And one of the things that he asked that I thought was a great question is he's like, so like as we're trying to like learn a little more about each other here, like what is something that a friend of yours should know about you? And it struck me as an interesting question. Like if there's one thing that just a friend of yours should know, right? That you'd want to impart or have all of your
Yeah.
friends be able to impart back, what would that be?
What was can you kind of go into what your answer was? I feel like I don't know whether to
Yeah.
go like too broad or like too narrow. I'm not.
My answer was sort of cheaty, but I think it's like very relevant, and that would be that I want all of my friends to know, like I'm of my sense of humor is mean, and I think people that don't know me like look at how I treat other people, like treat my friends and everything, are like, God, like he
Yeah.
seems like a real asshole, right? And so the thing I said is that I would want all of my friends to know that I like deeply care for them and would do anything for them. It's just my heathen sense of humor that maybe
Yes.
distracts from that point.
I don't
But I
think
do
that's a.
deeply
I
care
don't
for
think
those
that's a
people. Yeah.
cheat. I think that's just letting people know that like, hey, I'm not an asshole, although it may seem that way. I'm just trying to have fun here
Yeah,
with
I would
you.
do anything for the people that put up with me.
Yeah, and it's not
And the
like
cost of that is that they put up with me.
yeah,
So,
and it's not like you would do that to strangers. You would only do that
mm-mm.
to close friends.
Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
like I have a pretty like I would say like a fairly small circle of people I'm really close to. Like
Yeah.
less than 10 people that I really care about. And even then, I'm not like a good at like keeping up with people, and so it's like all of my friends are people where we can not talk for 3 months and then jump right back into it and do anything for each other, and like
Yeah.
those relationships are very sincere and I think like well developed, but there's definitely this element of like um fading in and out, and certainly like a small group, and for that like
Yeah.
small like really inner circle for me, I would do anything for those people, and I care so deeply for them, even though the majority of what comes out of my mouth as it pertains to them is probably insulting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think that's a good answer. Cuz I know we've had like friends come in and out of like our friend group where they just don't really pick up on that kind of humor, and
Mm-hmm.
and they're just like, and we have to explain to them over and over. Um, this is we both know who we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah, it's definitely a weird vibe when people don't um, pick up on it. And I found it's like a very funny thing in college, where like I'll be hanging out with my group of friends and we're, just eviscerating each other on
yeah.
on the regular. And other people in our classes and everything will be like, "Oh my God, like what are those people doing?"
Yeah.
Like it's funny, like it's entertaining to hear people banter the way we do, but
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
uncommon, I guess.
I think though that kind of banter is like sort of of an attractive quality as an outsider, because they're like, oh my gosh, but like they also like want to sort of be in on the joke, so they kind of it creates
Hmm.
like this sort of FOMO, like yeah, these guys are assholes, but like there's something deeper to
Yeah.
what's going on.
Well, and I think when you say something awful to one of your friends and then the reaction is just like laughter and throwing it right back, like I think
Yeah.
there's something like very relatable and I don't know. I think there's something that like anyone can kind of enjoy in that. So
Yeah.
I have a good time with it. For me, I think that sense of humor heavily comes from my family. Like that's just how everyone in my family treats each other. It's like not a like friendly, loving environment. But
Yeah.
again, like anyone would do anything for the others and
No,
care
yeah.
so deeply. Yeah,
I
but
have
yeah,
yeah, I
what's
have
expressed is negative. Is that the same for you?
No, yeah, I have a very similar environment where the banter is very like poking fun at people.
Mm.
Um, except my family might be a little bit more sensitive to the banter. Like there'll be a time because everyone like is insecure, and there'll be a time where someone's feeling a little bit, grumpy that day, and then they'll be like, "Hey," like, and then they'll like, like it gets a little bit too real, but we never learn from the mistake. It's always, we're always like poking fun at each other and poking fun at
Mm-hmm.
other family members. It's a very like witty, back and forth, like make fun of everything environment. Um,
Does does it come from one side of your family? Because on mine, like my dad's side is very much where that comes from, and my mom's side of the family is like a different vibe, and you handle it differently.
yeah, I would say my mom's side does that, but my dad does that more than I don't know. It's weird. I don't really. I would say my dad does more of it, but I would say my dad's side of the family doesn't really partake in that. It's really like only like my dad, me, and Colin that sort of participate in that the most. It is sort of a new thing, I guess, in the family where we do that. But other than that, like outside, it's not traditional, but um, the way we all engage with each other is it's different. It's not really like hokey, like oh, like I just love you guys so much. Like I can't remember any time that happened in either side of our family. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah. Um, sorry, I just went on. I just talked forever there.
No, no,
Uh,
it's super relatable. Yeah, for me it's definitely that like one side of a family deal. Um, and yeah, it's like it's weird because I grew up with it, and then the more like social experiences I've had like through high school and then like college especially is where I've noticed it. I think California is part of it. I think like people are just less willing to go, way out with some kind of absurdist thing. Um,
yeah, everything is Starbucks and unicorn coffee over there. It's fucking bullshit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna kind of sidestep that comment, I think. But yeah, I found more and more that it's not as like normal as I thought it was, and it's been fun to sort of like embrace that.
No, yeah,
Um,
the way
yeah,
you talk about California, it seems like there's a lot more social politeness happening, whether it be real or fake. There isn't very much like a raw um, sense there in California,
I think
as opposed
there's
to like maybe a place like New York. I guess I don't know.
yeah, there's definitely it'll be interesting to talk about this, and we should make a point to talk about it next episode after, or I guess maybe the episode after when you've been to California,
Yeah,
and spent some time and seen it. But there's definitely I feel like um, people like the gen. If you think of like different personalities as like a bell curve or something like that, um, I would think of the Midwest as like a pretty elongated bell curve, right? Like you've got people on really different spectrums, really different types of
yeah.
people.
Nebraska is really like kind of like a fuck fest of everybody. Like
Yeah,
it's weird. I want to make a video about like what Nebraska is like actually like for people who don't know, because even
that
like
seems like a
people,
good video.
yeah, because people that even like watch us, like nobody really knows what the fuck Nebraska's like. And obviously I'm
Hmm.
gonna like make fun of like all of not like the typical like corn bullshit, but
Yeah,
just like the people and the culture there. It's like, and it's weird. I would say it's like the most unique and hard to pin down area.
yeah, it's a weird feel, and I think my point is like, um, as much as there's like a definitely like an increased diversity of people and like literally any metric you want to look at, beyond like the normal meaning of diverse, but just like there's way more types of people out here. But
Yeah.
I feel like in Nebraska, um, you see people expressing more extremes. And out here, regardless of that diversity, I feel like the bell curve is kind of steeper. Like the central, maybe like most normal human being, more people are closer to that than they are being, really expressing whatever that further out
Yeah.
thing is. It's a very odd vibe, and maybe that's just how I've seen it. I feel like people. It's not like saying they're less genuine isn't true because I don't think anyone's like intentionally hiding anything, but there's definitely not as many people just like being whatever thing they are. Like everyone
Yeah.
seems a little more similar to one another than they do
Yeah.
back home. I feel.
Yeah. Because like Nebraska doesn't have like a specific culture. Like I would feel like New York and Los Angeles have very like yes, there are many types of people there, but it is a there's a specific like sort of attitude and interests that go on in both those areas. In Nebraska, you have people walking around with cowboy boots and mullets, and then like people with purple hair and septum piercings. Like it really, those people could go to the same place. Yeah, it's
And I think
yeah,
maybe what's odd is you have like there's more of both of those types of people out here, right? Like you have way more people in like that are maybe away from that normal thing, but I feel like when you meet and talk to people, everyone seems more like normal. Like I feel like when
yeah,
when I meet someone back home, like you can almost tell in the first like 10 lines of exchange like almost everything you need to know about that person.
yeah,
Out here, for both better and worse, people are kind of more like consistent in whatever their like outputted
uh huh,
social
yeah.
feel or something is. It's really interesting, and I'll be curious to hear what you think or what anyone else thinks that has lived out here or something like that, or moved out here like I have. But that's been my takeaway.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything that would be your message to a friend or
Yeah.
friends in?
I don't know if this would be like set in stone for me, but like the only one that I can think of is just like I'm like a very like introverted I hate these fucking stupid ass labels. I don't think they really mean a whole lot, but I'm like very introverted, and like I don't like really like keep up or like catch up a lot because um I'm very content, not so much comfortable, but I'm very content in like sitting in my room for days and just like grinding out like either a video game or even just like my own personal goals like YouTube or whatever. I could do that and just not talk to anybody, um at least in person, um for a while and just kind of do my own thing. And like I definitely thrive in that kind of environment to where I'm able to just like camp out and just like
Mm-hmm.
by myself and do my own thing, cuz that's where like I get a lot of like my recharge time is to just like be alone. Like I definitely value that time, and I guess like that might be like a takeaway with some friends. I don't know. I don't know how valuable that is, but definitely I would say that's like a big part of my identity, as to like I don't know, like kind of like stand on my own. I don't know.
Think back to when I first got to know you because you and I have like known each other for a long time, but didn't
Yeah.
like really get to know each other a ton until like senior year after senior year
Yeah.
time. where our whole friend group really kind of came together. But I'm trying to think back to then and like what things I was, like what things I was trying to like figure out about you during then. And I think there's definitely something to that. Gosh, I hope my reverb isn't that bad.
Oh
I
no,
can hear
you sound good.
Um, there's definitely something to what you're saying about that like needing your own personal, not needing, but just like being very fine and good alone. And I think that was something that was odd. Is even I feel like, and correct me or give me your perspective, obviously, but I feel like even in group settings, you and maybe you and I both to an extent kind of gravitate to just like doing our own thing and then stepping in whenever we feel like it. But we don't feel left out. Like when you and I are laying on the side, neither of us are like discontent about it. We're just sort of like waiting for our time. Is that correct?
No, yeah, I would. Yeah, I definitely prefer to sort of be on the outskirts. I do enjoy being the center of attention, but it's very like selective in when I want that, I guess. Like it definitely depends on my mood, but if I like be on the outskirts and like make like side comments, and then if I feel confident enough, like work my way into that position. But yeah, I mean, you and Brett gave me a hard time about this, but I definitely feel more alone in big group settings than I do by myself, which is a very hot button topic back then. But yeah, it's weird. But yeah, it's not like I don't give a shit about any of my friends. Like I care deeply and would do anything for the people that like I keep close. But yeah, it's not like I'm not making any effort, but like I guess I don't know, I get like so in my head and like cherish that like alone time to where it's like I would be fine hanging out with someone like once or twice a month and like catching up then. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I'm the same way. Like, definitely don't seek excessive social interaction. And I think I can, as much as we laid in pretty heavily on the pod whenever it was. I was trying to see what number it was, and I couldn't find it. But as much as we had a good time getting on you for the feeling alone in groups, I think there's something to that. I think for me it's changed a lot over the last year. Living alone in a time where there was nothing to like take me outside or to like give me any social interaction to kind of, fulfill that or give me that. It's maybe changed my tune a little bit. But I know what you mean. Like when I'm in a group of people that I'm semi-comfortable with or not like perfectly comfortable with, like that's work, I think for some people that's like exciting and energizing, and it can be that way for me, but more often than not, like I'm trying to fit in there and trying to say things that are funny to everyone and not demeaning and not demeaning is the wrong word, but yeah, like I'm trying to make something of those situations, and that makes it less satisfying or gratifying than it can just be to like be alone and be relaxing and doing my own.
Yeah, it was episode 6.
Episode 6 is when Connor got yelled at for his alone in groups.
Yeah, it does feel like work, but do you think like that it like being like sort of like feeling like that, being on the outskirts, do you think like there's like inherently like a trait about people like that is like sort of like alluring? So like, because like obviously like you're not gonna make any friends if like you purposely are just like, oh, I don't want to fucking talk to these people. Yeah, do you think, because I feel like the like personalities like balance themselves out, and like everything's like kind of like gonna work out for in the way it is. Do you think that there's like sort of like an attractive quality to like on the outsider to kind of like figure that person out who is kind of like doesn't really talk but will like speak up when they have like a sort of like a quippy thing? I don't know how to describe it. Like
There's definitely something like there. It's I've been trying lately to focus to like think less about what my mystique is, because
oh
it just seems
yeah
like such a self-absorbed
oh
thing.
no yeah I was thinking that
Yeah,
while I was saying that whole thing. I was like I don't want to sound like a complete like narcissist
no,
asshole
totally.
while saying it, but yeah.
But I think it's something that like everyone thinks about, or at least I certainly do. Like, what's interesting to me from the perspective of other people, or like how do I become interesting? I
Yeah.
think that's a value to think about. Um, and it's the kind of thing where I would like to think there is, but I think it really depends. I think it's probably like any trait, right? Like to some people, it's going to be like interesting, or like, oh, he's like funny, but only, jumps in when he needs to. Um, I think people might appreciate that, but I think some people would also just like be super bothered by it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it would go both ways.
Yeah. Cause like I know some people that are like sort of like awkward around my presence because um they just like don't know how to like handle me in social situations. Like I don't really even know how to describe myself in a social situation, but I like you like Mitchell, like our friend. I think he's been on a few things. I don't know if anyone would know him, but one of our friends, Mitchell, like a lot of his friends from
On the
college,
pod
or
some.
yeah, we got to get him on the pod. Um, a couple of his friends from college kind of just like don't know how to handle just like me as a person or like talk to me, cuz like I don't know, like they want to I don't know. It's weird.
It's This is again like when I was getting to know you. Um, there was and still is like this bringing together of friend. Like I've got my other friend group that doesn't interact much with like ours, and then there's ours. And I remember as I was getting to know you and saying like, man, I love like Connor, like he's just like funny. I just think he's great. And people would be like, I just don't get him. Like I just don't understand like he is, or like what he's trying to do or something. And I couldn't explain it. Like I couldn't, tell you what it is they weren't getting now, or I couldn't tell them what it is that they don't get. But I think there's I think your like comfort just like existing and being for yourself, like not trying for other people maybe. What do you think of that? I think maybe that's what is like odd to people.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I would say I think that's a good way to put it. I guess like I don't really try for other people. I mean I would like to think a lot of the stuff I do is purely for me. Like oh I mean I wouldn't be doing like YouTube or saying any of the stuff that I'm saying if it wasn't for me and my own interest. But yeah, social situations I find it most comfortable for me when people like come to me and like talk to me. I know that's not like the best way to do it, but I find that's how I don't know, I strike up the most interesting conversation because I'm off because like I am like stale bread when I try to initiate conversation with other people, unless it's like purely for me or I'm like I don't know, it's weird. I feel like you kind of do the same thing as well,
Def-
which is
Definitely.
why we get on why we relate on so many foots together with just like social situations in general.
Yeah, no, watching me try and like I think I can do the small talk, and there's another former
Oh yeah.
heated topic. I can like do small talk fine, and I see the place for it. Um, but watching me like try and step into a social interaction is horrible. Like
Yeah.
when I mutually approach someone, it's good. Like they come up to me, or like it's very clear that we're gonna talk. I'm fine then. But when it's like I'm standing on the outside and like here's a group of three people, even if I like know all of them fairly well, like it's just horrible. I'm horrible
Yeah.
at like stepping in. I can think of just like mortifying moments in my life, not mortifying, but just like not pleasant things where I'd like, see that happening. Oh, there's a group of people I know. I'll go step in and talk with them. And I just kind of walk in, stand there for a minute or
Yeah.
so, and then like walk out. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
no,
they're
I
talking about cooler things I don't know anything about. All right,
yeah,
that's
no,
fine.
I do the same thing. It's I guess like why I like when people come I guess like I it already takes me a long ass time to get comfortable, like truly comfortable with anybody. And so like when I start a conversation, why I feel like it feels like just like fucking I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Like just like I said, stale bread. Um, it's um, it's odd because I already want that conversation to go to a deeper place. I want to
Yeah.
feel comfortable, and like I obviously don't. And like I'm trying to like crack that person to like be more personable, but like we don't know each other and it's small talk, so
Mhm.
it's weird.
Yeah. Small talk, yeah. We don't need to rehash the small talk
Yeah, we've
thing
gone
too
through
much.
that plenty of time.
We've trudged through that. Um, I guess like getting back to the thing that started us on this, I think your message to a friend is a good one. Like just like I'm happy, being alone, doing my alone thing.
Yeah.
Um, I think that would be really good. And I think as thinking back as I was talking about earlier to when I was getting to know you, um, that would be like a useful thing to have received confidence on. And like that's the same way I tried to frame mine. Like what's something that I would want someone who's getting to know me to know, like,
Yeah.
to just be able to fall back on. Like here's a thing that I would just like to constantly beam into the
Yeah.
minds of everyone that I'm close to.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and like when
I think it
yeah,
was
cuz like when I was first meeting you and like you doing that, I don't even like notice that stuff. I just like go along with it. Like
no,
it
you and I are good there for sure.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't yeah, it just kind of like glazes over my head and I just go along with it, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, I think yeah, and I mean we already are we've self-described ourselves enough as standoffish in general. So I think those both
Yeah.
those yeah, both those things that we would beam to other people are good. Um I don't just like takeaways just to show like how I don't know, we can just be weird.
Does it ever become I've had problems where I think it's happened with like relationships, like girlfriends and things most where when I'm um trying to like getting the relationship started and in the early phases, like I'm really careful about like being good and doing the right things and like earning that trust and developing that bond and being like a really good person. But then the more comfortable I get and like the more I get to know them, the more that uh, we'll call it like aggressive sense of humor
Yeah.
comes out, and that's been problematic for me. Where I remember relationships in high school where um, that would become like a problem, like 5 or 6 months in or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I'd been like good up to that point, and all of a sudden I'm just a completely different person that I wasn't before. Has that
Yeah.
ever been an issue for you?
Um no, not really. I I guess like I'm not really careful. I feel like in general I try to be polite and not saying like you're not, but yeah, it can. I guess it can be like I guess seeing from like your perspective, like being yeah, like I guess it would be a change. I guess like I don't know. Yeah, for I don't know. I don't really know how I'm like cuz I can like make those comments, but I guess like I've like selected the people. I mean, I guess like I've only had like one like real girlfriend, and she like keeps it up pretty well with the jokes like that, sort of just like the
Hmm.
poking at each other. And like obviously it can like if we're like being sensitive that day, it can like become a problem. Um but yeah, I don't know. I guess like the problems where I have in relationships are just like communicative ones where like either like I'm not interested, um I don't think the other person's like very interesting, or there's just like there's just like a wall that's just like up there to where like because like definitely in the beginning I'll try to be like I'll purposely try to be like very like give like be open and like give myself, because I know that I'm like closed off like relatively to like newer people, so I'll like try and share these like personal things, and sometimes I think it can be like too soon just because like it's I like not like insanely personal, but just like stuff that like any like intermediate friend would probably know about me. But yeah, the problems that I have are mainly communicative. Well, I guess the way you're coming from is communicative as well. Um, I don't know, but yeah, I guess like I try to advertise up front to people that like, hey, I'm pretty like dry and sarcastic. Like I try to like if I'm ever dating a girl, like I try to tell them that like, hey, I'm pretty dry and like sarcastic and will like
Yeah.
sort of border on that, but not like be like too rude about it. I don't know.
I think for me, the issue comes from like not hiding that part necessarily, but like over exaggerating this like good and trying side of
Yeah.
me that I just can't keep up 24/7, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm doing that because I want the thing, and like that sincerity and kindness is the same thing that I was talking about earlier. Like I would give that and do that for anyone when they need it. And so I do it like, I think I do it instinctively early on to help like establish and build those things. And then when the time when those things have passed, when that like early time has passed and things are a little more comfortable, kind of cruising, then that part starts to slip away, and I think that's really confusing for someone else to try and
Yeah.
deal with. Like where's that guy now? All he does is just make fun of me all the time. And I think like a major goal of mine is figuring out how to reconcile that in I think it's less of a thing in most of my friendships, and I think friendship is just like less. It needs less of
Yeah,
that like
they're not counting
kind
on
of
you as
relationship.
hard, or they're not like relying on you as hard as like a significant other would. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I guess like I would just like advertise like that up front. I guess I would just like I don't know, like don't over or undersell anything. I guess this is like the classic like be yourself and like uh and you'll like catch more flies with like honey than vinegar, or bees with honey than I don't know what the phrase is. I don't know. In terms of like being yourself.
yeah, and I didn't mean to make this Charlie's advice corner. I was or Connor's advice to Charlie
Oh no.
corner. That's not a corner anyone needs to be. But yeah, I'm just it's like interesting to me thinking in terms of that, like, here's the message that I would beam to everyone, like reconciling that. I'm really interested in the dynamic between like a romantic or like significant other relationship versus just like a very close friend, because there's something very different.
Oh yeah, the dynamic is really different.
And so it's interesting to look at like what maybe another question for another episode would be like, what's the thing that you would constantly beam to a significant other? And I guess for me, like, it would be basically the same thing. Like,
yeah.
Please don't mistake my behavior for my like
yeah, because I would say with a partner you do have to like limit some of those like harsher qualities about you, because it is like a lot more of a sensitive and vulnerable place than a close friendship would be. It's very stripped down.
And I think maybe another thing I'm thinking of is like in a friendship, you're not like you're with each other in more of a limited context. Like you're either, I think normally, like having a good time, like hanging out, the boys are getting together, or it's like a serious, like, let's talk, you know, what are you working through, what can I do? Like it's a more sincere thing. And I think in a I need a better word for it, but like a real relationship, you're with each other so much, it's not really like high or low, but there's just this whole middle zone, you know, where you need to just be able to exist. And I can't
it's very free flowing.
It's big time during. Anyway, that's I got a hard out coming up here. So
we're at time too. So
perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
we're at a solid like 42, 40 something.
Perfect. That's the sweet spot. I've always said that I think that 42, 40.
Yeah, a tight 40 is the perfect 40. Range. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll skedaddle then.
All right.
I got to get back to class and moving. See you folks next week, maybe in person.
This was a very personal episode.
Yeah, I think hopefully the energy's back up.
I think it was. I think it is. Not a lot of sniffling or sneezing or.
Yeah. Well, next episode, it's coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. You won't expect it.
Yeah.